What up, everybody? Today I'm going to be doing a review of the new Samsung 25R. Is a 20 amp continuous, apparently 100 amp burst battery, fairly new from Samsung, and Sony VTC5. I've had a couple of the VTC5s for a little bit now, and I really enjoy them. Thanks to John Griff from Congrevape for sending me another one with this battery for the review. In case you didn't see that, I'm actually going to throw the blue Samsung in there. Couple technical specs. Put both of them brand new onto my IntelliCharger i4. When I took them off, the Sony was at 4.18 along with the Samsung. Within an hour, the Sony was still at 4.18. The Samsung was down to 4.17. Also, when they came from the factory, the Sony was at 3.5 volts. The Samsung was at 3.6. I did a voltage drop test under load with a 0.45 ohm coil. Both of them had the same within a thousandth amount of a voltage drop with a fresh charge. So as far as that aspect, they're both really good, really similar. The VTC5 is... I'm probably going to get this wrong. Pretty sure it's 2600 milliamps per hour, whereas the Samsung, I believe, is 2100? 2500. 2500 for the Samsung 25R, 2600 for the Sony VTC5. So really not that much of a difference with 100 milliamp hours. Anyways, I'm going to give it a quick vape, talk a little bit more about it. Guess I can talk about the Sony first. I'm not sure how many reviews or how much knowledge there is on the Sony right now, but I really like it. It kicks like a flippin' mule all the way down to 3.8 was when I noticed my first, I guess, slack in the battery, or it's starting to not push as hard. But that was just when I first barely noticed the first twinge. Whereas with the Samsung, I started to notice a power drop off at about 3.9 volts. Although it took roughly the same time for both batteries to get to that point. It took the Sony a little bit longer because it's got a little bit more milliamp hours, but not even close to a fully charged battery. I think I'm at like 4 volts here, but thing does not disappoint. It'll be interesting to see if there's any type of a break-in period with these batteries, because I know I've heard from some people that the Sonys, the VTC5s, have a little bit of a break-in period before they start really shining. I've been using this battery for about 4 or 5 days now. I usually only go through about 1 or 2 batteries a day, so it's taken me a little bit longer to get my full opinion on this this Samsung right here. But I gotta say, if they're, comparable price to either your Orbtronics or your Sonys or whatever, so far from my experience, this is a great battery. It's reliable. It fires every time. Doesn't have much for a volt drop as compared to any of the other batteries I've used. And yeah, I guess I can't say enough good things about the Sony VTC5. I've loved Sonys since the 4 series. I never owned any of the 3, but I had Orbtronic 22 amp and an AW 24 amp, and I can definitely say that I like this new Samsung better than either of those two. So I guess, yeah, I'd have to say that this Samsung is a very nice close second to the VTC5. I would say if it weren't for sub-ohming reasons where you want that extra 10 amps, I'd say that this 25R is just as good as the VTC4. That'd be the only reason that I wouldn't give it the same level, is just because it has 10 less amps continuous. But, you know, the 100 pulse, and there's different things about that, whether you can pulse it for a half second or a tenth of a second, or whether that's only for use in regulated mods. I still don't know exactly how I feel about that. I just test them down to where I feel safe. Like I said, rocking this at about a 0.45 for the last couple of days, used both batteries, and they're both really good. Both really good. Yeah, I guess I could say my only two complaints about the Samsung were that it seemed to, for me, drop off at about 3.9 rather than at about 3.8 with the Sony, and 10 less amps than the Sony, which isn't a big deal unless you're going for, you know, your 0.1xx builds, and 100 less milliamp hours, which really, 100 milliamp hours isn't going to do you too terrible much difference in battery life. But regardless, both great batteries, and I'd say pick up either one if you have the chance. Definitely pick up the Samsung if you can, because those Sony VTC5s and customs and this and that, a nightmare. Other than that, thanks again, John, everybody at Congrevape. Yeah, go buy these batteries and have a big cloudy day.